Part 2 of the Gwangxu Pass covers the middle section of the northern descent from the 6th to the 12th kilometer. If you intend driving this pass, it's important to watch Part 1 first, which contains the Google Earth orientation animations, as well as other important details on safety, history and tourism. The area that this pass is located in forms part of Pondoland. In this video we will explore one of the more recent incidents of their modern history. The Gwangxu Hill massacre represents the height of revolts against the white apartheid state known as the Umpondo revolts. These were a series of rebellions and resistances to the apartheid government's policies in the 1950s. One of the reasons given for these revolts is the Rehabilitation Betterment Scheme. This scheme was the result of the Native Trust and Land Act, which came into being in 1936. This led to the establishment of the South African Native Trust, which sought to purchase additional land which would increase the 7% prescribed by the Act to 13% of South Africa's land surface. In 1939, the state embarked on a policy of conservation measures known as betterment. The scheme was about resettlements, stock control, rotational grazing, fencing of grazing land, culling, regular dipping and promotion of government-sponsored cattle sales. The scheme was implemented by magistrates in the villages, but they were met with cold silence in the early 1940s. However, it was in 1947 that it was first applied to the Transkei and Butterworth. The first resistance to the rehabilitation happened in Mount Aleph as early as 1942. An organization known as Ikongo was formed in 1947 to protect their land. Ikongo would later be adopted in Pondoland as the Umpondo people wanted to protect their land from the South African government in the 1950s and 1960s. In early March 1960, thousands of Umpondo people gathered in various parts of Pondoland on the day the isisekelo Tribal Authority was due to begin operations in Bizana. Whilst the initial meeting was held in Bizana at Mount Nonkulwana, other mountains like Nkuza, Nkindili and Ndlovu also hosted meetings. Wealthy individuals such as chiefs and traders were expected to contribute large sums to the movement, while evangelists and teachers had been politicized through Bantu education took leadership roles. It became apparent to the Ikongo committees that there were government agents within their ranks and their activities were reported to the magistrates. The Ikongo agreed that if these members did not cooperate, they would be burned or killed. Between March and June 1960, the late ANC stalwart Govan Mbeki reported that 27 kraals and 22 people, including 2 chiefs, headmen, 2 police informants and bodyguards, had been burnt to death. On the 6th of June 1960, thousands of Umpondo tribesmen heeded a call for a mass meeting to discuss the violence in Pondoland as well as the Bantu Authorities Act of 1951 and the betterment scheme of Gwangxu Hill between Flagstaff and Lusikisiki with the Ikongo. The meeting was disrupted by airplanes which dropped smoke bombs and tear gas while armed police officers surrounded the meeting. Although the people at the meeting raised a white flag to signal peace, the police opened fire. 11 people were killed, 58 were injured and 23 arrested. Further violence shortly after the massacre broke out in the Flagstaff district, where a police patrol was ambushed and stoned by the angry Umpondo people. The police retaliated by shooting at them. 2 police officers were injured and 1 headman was arrested. In November 1960, further violence by police disrupted a meeting in Nkandili near Flagstaff. The chief and his indunas were violently killed, others were wounded and 10 huts in the kraal were burnt down. Several more violent clashes took place in Bala near Flagstaff, and police officials were rushed to the area whilst military aircraft monitored the meeting by hovering over the mountains. After the massacre, a commission of inquiry was set up in mid-July to investigate the Gwangxu Hill massacre and hear the grievances of the people of eastern Pondoland. The Umpondo people demanded the removal of Bantu authorities, the removal of Paramount Chief Botha Sikau, a relief from taxes and representation in the South African government. Be sure to watch Part 3 of the Gwangxu Pass, which deals with the last part of the descent at the Gwangxu village.